Now, the Nigeria Institute of Architecture is calling for a policy change by government and professional bodies to address incidents of collapsed buildings across the country. President of the Institute, SONNY ECHONO, said this in Lagos at the 5th Distinguished Lecture of the Institute. ECHONO said compromise, corruption, and ignorance are the three major factors responsible for collapsed buildings, which, while strict enforcement and punishment for offenders, will go a long way to address the issue.
The problem is because as a country, as a people, we have collectively failed to appreciate the value of using professionals. We try to cut corners, we equate the inputs they should bring, we tend to measure it only in monetary terms. And we believe we can dispense with that knowledge and skill and guidance because we are very quick to either reduce costs. So we now go and use quacks, or because of the very high standards that many of these professional bodies set. Their members cannot be seen to do certain things involving malfeasance. So some public officers also feel more comfortable to relate with people who are not governed by the very strict code of practice. And Nigerians too, who are involved in other such practices, prefer to use foreigners who will pay them whatever they want in dollars, in other currencies, than locally. But the reality is that we have the right knowledge and skill sets in this country, and if we begin to use our own people, no country will give you their best.
The theme of this lecture, a element of relevance, is such a timely and fitting in the context of the ongoing socio-political occurrence in our great nation, Nigeria. It is clear to us all that the ship of Nigeria sits is in the eyes of the storm. The raging waves of insecurity, banditry, insurgents, corruption, economic recession, ethnic bigotry, nepotism, and lack of governmental direction are furiously beating against us all board. As one of the fathers of our architecture in Nigeria, we could not but celebrate him for his specific contributions to integrated residential estate developments, institutional buildings, education, commercial, institutional projects, healthcare centers, sports centers, and recreational facilities, and above a strong master plan.
The Senate Committee on Information and Communication Technology has raised the alarm over the high rate of cybercrime in the country, calling for mechanisms to save the nation from the menace. Chairman of the committee, Yakubu Hussaini, who spoke during a visit of members of Data Sixth Cybersecurity Consulting in Lagos, said the oversight findings of the team revealed that Nigeria was suffering from activities of cyber criminals. He expressed worry that the gains the nation has made in the ICT revolution were being dampened by the rapid evolution of the cybersecurity threat landscape, with a dramatic rise in cybercrime. Well, joining us now to have a conversation about how the federal government can provide cybersecurity that would contribute positive digital transformative changes in projecting the country as one of the pioneers and sponsors of cyber resilience is Senator Foster Ogola. He's a former Vice Chancellor and Senate Committee on ICT and Cybercrime. Well, glad to have you. Oh, beg your pardon. Vice Chairman. He's the Vice Chairman, a former Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on ICT and Cybercrime. Thank you so much for joining us. Well,
Thank you.
Great. Let me begin by asking you, what are the emerging threats? I mean, if you listen to my introduction, there is the alarm that cyber crime is on the rise. But what are the emerging threats when it comes to cyber crimes and cyber threats in the Nigerian landscape? And do we have, as a country, what it takes to detect and fight this growing menace?
Yes. There are emerging threats because people are aware of cybersecurity the presence of Nigerian companies and businesses online. And there is an increase in the application of online technology. However, for every good increase in technology, there are also the fraudsters who hack into data that is encrypted. When their data is not properly encrypted online, it is prone to people who have the technology to hack into those data. That is really the problem we have. And you have hackers who hack into banks. The process of intruding into people's data online is what we call hacking, particularly when that data is either already encrypted or not encrypted at all. And so that unauthorized intrusion into online data by companies or institutions, organizations, are what we see as cybercrime. It's a crime because you were not permitted to have access to it.
Yes, indeed. A form of theft, in other words. But just following on from your own interaction with people in the cyberspace, stakeholders, so to speak, what have you found to be the most effective and implementable strategy against these sorts of crime?
The most effective strategy to prevent cyber insecurity or cyber crime is to encrypt data. When your data online is encrypted, once we are online with your business and your information and your data, that data needs to be protected. Many Nigerian companies are not aware that online data need to be protected. And that is why the Senate Committee, 9th Senate Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity had already in the 8th Senate passed a Data Protection Act, which was not signed into law. And so it will be presented in this 9th Senate so that there will be a punishable crime against offenders of that act.
Okay. So Nigeria is said to have about 35% market share of mobile telecoms in Africa. That is huge. However, it also means that with increased e-transactions comes more exposure to cyber criminals and theft. Do we have, because I asked earlier if we have what it takes to fight this, detect and fight this, do we have the skills, the hands-on skills as well? Is this something we are inculcating in our school curriculums? What do you think? Where are the professionals?
Well, as at now, we are decades behind cyber technology, cyber security technology, because that knowledge base is very alien to us. As at now, you have only 2 universities in Nigeria that are offering it as a course. One of them is Admiralty University in Delta State. You have another group, I think, a university in Nasarawa State. They are the only ones formally now who have cybersecurity as a course of study. The other problem, again, in that in Nigeria, it is the university or institutions that decide what you study. In the knowledge-based economies, it is the business community that decides the curriculum and tells universities, train this type of people for us. And this is what they should know as a knowledge base before they come out of the university. And so we have a problem here. We have 35% of the online community practice in Africa. But you should not be surprised. 25% of Africans are Nigerians. And most Nigerians have 1, 2 companies. They have 1, 2, 3 data online phones or smartphones. So you should not be surprised that we have 35%. But we do not have 35% of the professionals that are needed in the industry. Many people who have websites do not even know what cybersecurity is about, or that they even need professionals to manage it for them with encryption of the data to protect the data they use. Even many government companies don't have it. And so what we have done in the 9th Senate Committee is to practically go to specialized institutions. Almost all Nigerian ministries, departments, and agencies are having websites. Now, how are they prepared for the cyber age? That was what was done last year. And it was surprising that there was a big gap on what was expected of them. Not up to 2 or 3 were really knowledge competent. But we need that knowledge base by creating that awareness that there is a huge gap. Our oil data can be scrapped by just one push of a button.
Yes.
Either one click can wipe out the entire database of a bank and all the money in it. But when we have drawn that idea up, we also have to have that training. There is a benchmark that we need to have, that if you are to be online, if you are to be in the government, you should have this skill set.
Okay. Yes.
And when you have that skill set, then you can go on.
Okay. Well, very briefly,
yes,
since we seem to be out of time, you seem to reference colonial pipelines there, but you mentioned that we're decades behind, and yet a lot of the cyber crimes are dumped on the doorsteps of our teeming youth. So there seems to be, how do we marry the two? How do we bring these teeming youth who clearly have the capacity together with the need for cyber knowledge and cyber skills?
You hardly have people who are in their 60s who are still knowledge competent in the cyber security industry. Most children who start primary school now, they start with computer technology. And you know, in technology, even in learning languages, the abusive words are understood first. You are stupid, you are mad, before even the child knows how to construct a sentence. And so the youths of today, they are interested in making money fast. And so they learn and imbibe these things, taking advantage of their older generation. They are taking undue advantage of the older generation. But what we need to do is to ensure that these things as skill sets are taught right from the primary to the secondary to the tertiary institutions. And at that work age, we should be able to.
Thank you so much. That's so much we could take. We wish we could explore the concept of cyber range, but perhaps next time. Thank you so much.